this summer, I'm a little concerned that Luke Kornet might kind of is his contract. He's going to be a free agent. I'm not certain what money he could get out there on the market, but I don't know if the Celtics, I don't know if they can welcome him back on a minimum. I think he's kind of outplayed that minimum a little bit, especially near the end of the season. Looks like he's in the best shape of, I mean, really his entire Celtics career. He's built up this point right now, the point we're at. Luke Kornet has built up his body to get to this point ever since 2021, and it just continues to this day. But just looking ahead at the summer, Franco, we're gonna, maybe talk about the future
Yeah.
a little bit. Do you have a worry that the Boston Celtics do they have a Luke Kornet problem when it comes to paying him during the summer? Could this be the final 8 games of the regular season Luke Kornet plays in, as well as the playoffs? Obviously, we're going to have great time. We're going to enjoy these 8 games in the playoffs with Luke Kornet. But is Luke Kornet on the Boston Celtics next season?
Obviously, if there, it's going to be a very interesting summer on how they approach things, and I think it's going to be very dependent on what the results are of the season. I think winning back-to-back championships, you need to assess where you're at and what type of level of aggression you want to continue to spend. And this is where having a new owner kind of puts everything into this is the cards are now in your hands, built the Chisholm. Now you the whole that what's next for this franchise? Is this the close off of a our championship run, or is this going to be the type of year next year that you try to become like a three-peat team, which we've seen other dynasties in history do. We saw the Warriors and other teams in the past to be able to go to three championships and be able to outlive their window as long as they can. But if you're looking at next year's offseason, you have Al Horford, whose contract is over, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. These might be the final 8 regular season games that we see Al Horford play basketball. I I think that Al Horford isn't going to be looking for any type of retirement tour as much as I would like for him to have one. Uh, it wouldn't shock me if this was if he just hung up the basketball shoes after the season and called it if there was back to back and was felt satisfied there. And it also wouldn't surprise me if he was like, I still have enough in my tank to keep on playing, and would be nice if he would come back on a hometown discount. And you look at Luke Kornet and Al Horford; those two players are people that I would like to think would take lesser money to stick around here in Boston to be on this team, but the level of production that they're giving the Boston Celtics are going to lead other teams to having interest in and putting $10 million on the table for a player like Luke Kornet, which the Celtics physically cannot offer unless there are some rearrangements to this roster. You look at a player like a Drew Holiday, a Sam Hauser, you'd have to be shifting a few pieces to keep a few pieces at that point. So it's hard to say if those players would be back. Um, it's very, like I said, it's very dependent on if this team is gonna run it back and win their second championship in a row, and if they want to continue living with this luxury tax, and if they just want to begin to focus on Tatum's money and centralizing a team around Tatum's contract and not having all this extra cash. And the worst thing that the Celtics fans would want to see is this team turning into something that is being used to make someone a profit rather than seeing someone build a successful championship and franchise. And
That is a worry. I'm just saying.
yeah,
We haven't even, we talked like 25 minutes the other day on Bill Chisholm, but I mean, there's still more to talk about when it comes to that aspect of things. I mean, I don't want to go ahead, Franco. I don't want to go into this all now. I'm just gonna point out to people. I'm like, first of all, go check out that video, folks. But I'm gonna say this: there's more aspects of that ownership that group that we might have to talk about in the future. Just saying. But go ahead, Franco.
but yeah, I'm, I think that we're gonna start to see this team ideally next year. You're still looking at a good center of your core still around. You're looking at players like Drew. You still have your starting five and Chris Stapps, Drew, Derek White, and I think they could honestly just play the game of living with the departures as they happen, and as the contract's over, the contract's over. If we could get Al Horford to come back on a Udonis Haslem type of deal that is just extremely cheap, and but I just don't see that being the case. It's either retirement or someone gives him his final year and he gets his money. And I think Luke Kornet has made his case as a top 50 center in the NBA right now. So he's probably one of the better backups available going into the NBA free agency market. So I wouldn't be shocked if he got his money. The other final player that is on the market is Torrey Craig. So we know that he's going to be more than likely just a 1 year rental player for this team. Um, Especially we haven't seen him really get that consistent amount of minutes on this roster. So I know he will be able to contribute when it comes down to playoff time, but after that, I don't see too much after. But I think they're just going to begin to start relying on the draft and holding on to their draft picks and hoping that the development of players like Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh, and Nehemiah Skata are all succession plans and can end up all working out for them. And if not, then you'll start to see this team make those tough decisions on if they're gonna ride out Drew Holiday's contract. And the year after that, it's Kristaps Porzingis hitting the market. So just enjoy this Boston Celtics team while it lasts. This season is probably going to be one of the few times that you're going to be able to see this much talent on a team with the Boston Celtics, and that all the cards are on the table for the next few years. And I think if things are managed properly, this window should be open until 2028. But who knows what the future holds, especially with the new owner.